Hello YouTube and welcome back to another episode of Laura's Soap Delight. Today we're going to be doing a salt bar experiment. So this is what the 100% salt bar looks like. It is a rose shape. What I mean by that is that if you want to do a 100% salt bar, you'll take the weight of the oils and put that same weight in salt. For example, if you're using 1000 grams of oil, you're going to use 1000 grams of salt. Inversely, if you want to do 50%, you only use half the weight in salt, for example, 500 grams of salt. This is the 50% bar of salt, and this is where I'm going to show you what not to do for salt bars. As we start to mix the oils and butters like we do for all the bars, you can tell right there that it's quite a thick mixture to begin with, and that should have alerted me that it's probably not the same temperature as the more liquidy lye solution. This lye solution just has 50% of salt, Himalayan salt, that's why it has that pink color. And now I'm trying to blend, but it's getting way too thick to blend with the blender. And it is time to take out that blender before it starts to burn my motor and just try to mix by hand. The problem with mixing by hand is that I can still have pieces of lye that have not saponified the fats, and that could later on burn the skin. So most likely I will not be able to sell these bars, or each bar is going to have to be very thoroughly tested to make sure I don't have any lye spots. I'm ready now to pour. I'm using an ice cream scooper because it is so thick that it can't be nicely poured out, and you're going to notice the difference with the other bar when I try to pour it out. I'm using this honeycomb bar mold because one, it's pretty, and two, it's quite different from the other one that I'm going to be using for the one that I did properly. This mixture, you can tell, is quite grainy, so I'm already quite dissatisfied with this bar. Now let's look at what to do, what actually worked and why it worked well. So right here, I'm measuring the temperature as I should have to from the beginning. When I'm mixing this, I can tell it is the same liquidy texture than my lye solution. This is my lye solution with 100% salt. And now I'm getting ready to incorporate them together. As we mix, we're going to reach trace really fast because salt accelerates this to probably half the time that it would normally take me to reach trace. So I'm mixing more than I am blending until I reach trace, like you can tell right here. I'm going to blend by hand, making sure that everything is nice and I don't have any lye spots. And I start to pour into my rose molds. The other thing with salt bars in the past for me is that when I grind the salt, somehow it always ends up having a few spots that are still quite too big. And so when people use the bars, they're quite rough on their skin still. So I really pulverize these ones about, I think, 5 times for 30 seconds each before I incorporate it. I also melt part of the salt into very hot water to make sure that it would melt as much as I could. Now this is the rose molds. Already I can tell that the outside of them are quite slick. It seems like it's really working, and the salt is quite well incorporated. Now these are the 50% salt bars that I was not happy with. They're quite rough to the touch, and they're going to have to be thoroughly tested. If you like the video, hit a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and if you have any comments, please leave them down below. I'll answer them as you ask them. Have a great day, YouTube.